Thank you. Call the Finance Committee to order. Members Alderwoman Finlayson and Alderman Payon are present. First order of the agenda is to approve the agenda. Is there a motion to approve and or amend the agenda?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next order of business is approval of the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll move approval of the minutes from the September 16th meeting.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Failing that, all those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. The first item on the agenda is the, what is its number?
ID 26020?
Yeah, 260-20. It's a grant application, and this is this the burn grant?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. And Jody, is there anything we need to know about this? It looks straightforward.
So they need the approval of the Finance Committee to apply for this grant. This is odd. We're not normally required to do that, but Lieutenant Miguez is on if you want to ask him specific questions about the grant itself.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about the second page of this application.
There we go. Let's see. So the second page, you're talking about the
type of submission. The second page is blank, I believe. It says it's blank and says close window on my iPad.
Yeah, so that's the, when I printed out the application from the grant management system, this is what it printed out. So it's a very brief, it doesn't go into much detail at all. I guess it didn't even have the brief summary that I had entered in there.
I'm sorry. I'm being a smart ass.
Okay.
So it's just mine. It's got 2 sentences on it, and then it says closed window. But we have the first page, Lieutenant Miguez, and that gives all the details.
Relevant information is there, and it looks pretty straightforward to me. Are there questions from the committee?
I do have one question. Lieutenant Miguez, we get this grant every year, do we not?
We don't necessarily get it every year. It's not ours for the taking. It's one that it does get posted and we put in for it. We have gotten it in previous years, but it's not one that's just given to us. Some other grants, we do very minimal amount of paperwork to get those. This one, it does involve an application process. We have gotten this type. We have gotten grant funds under this same program before, though. Yes.
So nothing new. It's not a new grant. You know, we've conducted ourselves appropriately as far as usage of the funds.
Katie, if you would like to get on and.
Yes.
So this is just a new procedure that they're asking us to approve it beforehand.
Okay, so
it's funding for a new purpose, correct?
Yeah, it's new purpose. There's all kinds of different burn grants. Right. We get a lot of different burn grants. This is a different one than is our typical stream of burn grants.
Lieutenant?
Yes.
So what's different?
So there we can submit for grant funds under the Edward Burn Memorial Justice Assistance Grant every year, and we can submit for funds for various purposes. This was my first time submitting it. I don't know if this is a new certification that they wanted, or if the certification, if they've used that same certification in the past. But what they want from the certification is basically that it's put before review some sort of body, 30 days, and that we have to wait 30 days and then submit the certification that it was submitted. This grant in particular is for GPS trackers. for our undercover officers to use. So that's the nature of what we put in for this time around.
Okay. That sounds like a procedure we had attempted to put in place citywide, where grants would come before the Finance Committee before the application, so we could make sure we could live up to it, meaning afford it.
Of course, yeah.
So, yeah.
Have the resources behind it, yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
So the action expected of the committee is that we have reviewed this so that the city is aware that this application has gone forward. Do you need a signature from the Finance Committee director, or just the fact that you can certify that we reviewed it and I believe agree this is a wonderful grant to get?
Yeah, I think that's sufficient for what they're looking for.
Yep. So,
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we give a favorable recommendation to the application for the burn grant, this particular burn grant.
Is there any further discussion? I think this is great. So all those in favor of recognizing this grant? Did we get a second? Yeah, Fred did. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The ayes have it. All right. Thank you, Lieutenant. Good work. Hope we get this grant. The next thing we have is SA 1221. And this is another police department. This is a grant that we received and we need to recognize so that it can be appropriated. Is there anything we need to know about this in particular? It looks straightforward to me.
Not from my end. It's a recruitment and retention grant, and so just measures that we sought out to keep our people here.
It's funding to provide certain incentives for recruiting officers. And like I said, we have received it already. And we're just trying to put the appropriation in the budget so they can pay it out.
Questions or comments from the committee?
Well, I have a question. Is this recruitment of new officers or retention of existing officers, or both?
Yes.
It's both. So, yeah, it does both. And they got a number of the bodies that administer grant funds did continuing funding this past spring. In light of COVID, they didn't do their normal requirement of applications. And this was, so we're going to be submitting a grant to the committee as well, probably the next time around, for this same program. And so some of the measures are meant to recruit qualified applicants here, and then other measures are for retaining qualified people here. And so you kind of work on both ends of that to bring people in and to keep them here as well, because that's, as you know, that's always been our challenge.
I would like a notation made that, and I've spoken to the chief about this, about our efforts with minority recruitment. We need to work harder at making sure that our department looks like the community that it serves. So please pass that on and make a notation wherever appropriate that I'm interested in making sure that we're making extra efforts that we haven't in the past on minority recruitment.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Is that part of a motion to recommend approval?
Yes, I recommend approval with an annotation that we highlight minority recruitment. Not that this has to be used. That's not right. I make a motion that we approve this grant, and I make a note that I would like to see an increase in minority hiring.
So the motion is to recommend favorably on SA 12-21. Is there a second? You're on mute, Fred.
Yes.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? If not, all in favor of recommending favorably to SA 12-21 signify by saying aye.
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 The ayes have it. All right. I think that we are now ready to go to legislation. And thank you, Lieutenant Miguez. We appreciate your help with this.
As always, Chairman.
Legislation before the committee is Resolution 53-20, Board of Appeals fee for the purpose of specifying the fee in the fiscal year 2021 fee schedule. I always thought we had the fee for this, and in fact, I think it's changed over time. Did we did we skip it inadvertently, or
no? It's inserted into the fee schedule in one place. I know one thing this legislation does is insert it into the fee schedule in another place where it needs to be added. So It's nothing new with the fee. It's just getting the
and it's been $250 for a while now, right? Mm-hmm. It was higher at one point. I think it was called the Chris Ledoux fee, but it's been reduced back down to $250. Are there questions or comments from the committee?
Well, I was looking for the original fee, but it is $250, so it's not changing. But I would think that somewhere in this legislation it should say that.
In
the chart or somewhere where it would say.
Well, this is just placing the fee that's already approved in another place. So not sure you want to add language that makes it appear that this is something separate and apart from the other fee schedule. It's just that we have to put it in two different places in the code. This
is essentially housekeeping, right?
Yep.
So is it, and I'm not seeing where it's being placed.
It goes into section 2130-010 or .110.
Well, my question is, where does it fit in the fee schedule where it isn't right now? Is that where it is under the, whatever the name of the code is?
Where it isn't, it is some other place. We want to put it there. It appears, I don't know where else in the fee schedule. I could pull down my budget book, but
okay.
Playing the role of Ross today is Alderwoman Finlayson.
And Katie's looking it up to see where it is currently, so we can find that for you, and it'll be placed a second time in the fee schedule, citing code section 2130.010. And she's looking up the other section that it's referred to.
So the new section is 21.30.010.
Correct.
And I'm going to make the motion, so that makes us different, Ross.
Okay, good. I was being confused.
So I will make the motion that we, if that's all it is, and we've heard from Ms. Dickinson and we've heard from Mr. Lyles, then I'm good with making a motion to give a favorable recommendation to R 5320.
Second.
Is there further discussion? All those in favor of making a favorable recommendation to the council on resolution 53-20 signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
But Ross, I do have another question.
Yes,
in
ma'am.
line 28, resolution XX20, what should that be?
Line 28.
No, line 20.
I think
28.
That's a good question. I think we probably do need to fill in 53 there as a finance committee amendment. It should, whereas resolution.
It may be referring to the original resolution where we have the fee schedule, and we wanted to refer to the original resolution. And my city attorney should answer that question, actually, because I'm not sure what it was trying to refer to.
Sorry, say the question one more time.
Look at line 28. It says
has
resolution. Go ahead. Go ahead,
No, I'm
Ross.
done.
It says resolution XX-20. There should be a number in there as opposed to 2 X's.
Yep, that's our mistake. We'll correct that today. I think, let me see. Let me go back to it here. Yeah, basically what happened was when we expressed the filing fee originally in the other part of the code, that resolution, which from the budget period added that change is what should be in there. So it's really related to when you change the code.
I think it's probably 27, isn't it?
Probably.
This is a fee. It's 26 or 7. One or the other of them in the budget binder.
Yeah, well, I'll talk to Jacqueline. We'll make that change.
Oh, you're going to make me pull this big, heavy thing down.
And is it a resolution or was that an ordinance? What's the
fees and fines are resolutions.
It's a resolution. When you change all the fees and fines, so it's related to that.
Fees is 2620.
26.
26. Yeah, I think fees are 26 and fines are 27.
Okay.
So it would be 26. Good catch, Sheila.
Thank you.
Sorry, I should have brought it up earlier. I had a note from yesterday about that, but
we'll make a change and send it around again.
So do we need to change our motion to make that correction? Or
Yes,
recognize?
what you would say is subject to the insertion of the correct resolution number.
Right.
Okay, so I'll move approval of, what is it, R5320.
So before you do that, you already voted on it? So
we have a motion to reconsider the Finance Committee vote on resolution R5320.
Yes.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure we need to reconsider. We just make another amendment that says.
But you
can't make an amendment if you already passed the motion.
You already passed it.
Approving. You already approved it. So
you recommended favorably already. So
right.
Okay, for the whole. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
All right.
So you basically have to open it back up with the motion to reconsider.
Okay, I thought we were just voting on the amend. Never mind. Okay, I'll move that.
You can't amend something that's already been approved.
Yes, I didn't think we had gotten to final approval. So
we're fast. We're fast.
Really.
So there's a motion to reconsider resolution, the Finance Committee motion on resolution 53-20. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. The motion to reconsider is passed. Is there a new motion regarding resolution 53-20?
So I will move that we give a favorable recommendation for R53-20 with the correction of or the amendment of the proper resolution number for fees.
For line 28, which would be, instead of XX, would be 26-20.
Okay, so that's not my motion, but okay, that's yours.
Well, okay, well.
I mean, I said the same thing that was on 28, so.
Give me something,
all right.
Guys.
Well, you're breaking up, Fred.
I said, give me something to second.
I'll let Sheila make the motion that she wants to make.
Well, I was trying to do that. I will make a favorable, I think we should make a favorable recommendation for R5320 with the addition of the proper resolution number from the fee schedule.
Is there a second?
Okay.
All right. Is there a discussion with that hesitant second? Is there discussion? I think we can be more precise. We can say changing line 28, removing XX and adding 26-20.
Then I will withdraw my motion and you can make it.
No, Fred has to do it. All right. Yes, so the motion is to recommend approval of our 53-20 with the correction to line 28 that adds resolution 26-20 as opposed to XX-20.
Might I suggest that the motion should simply say to add the appropriate resolution number, because I just want to make sure it's exact.
I think that's what the alderman proposed.
Yeah, because if we get specific and it's not correct, then we got to come back. And I just prefer,
all right,
let us research it, get it correct, and send it around to you today.
Okay, well, I second Sheila's motion after all.
Yeah. Please, can we have some more discussion? Failing that, all those in favor of the motion to recommend our 53-20 favorably with the correction signify by saying aye.
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 The ayes have it. I believe we're now on to general discussion, which usually includes an update from the finance director.
I forgot about that part.
You were ready to go, weren't you? So am I.
I'm fervently working to get the estimates up to date for our meeting on Saturday and trying to get a good estimate of where I think 22 is going to be, although that's difficult. I mean, we can try to estimate the expenses, but the revenues, I just make a good estimate is how I think things are going to improve. But that's kind of something that nobody can really know right now, how quickly we're going to recover from this. And that's primarily what I've been working on. I have a couple other deadlines with the coronavirus grant reporting that I have to do this week. My staff is working to pull together the fund statements that we're going to use to create our financial statements. And that's another thing I've got to move on to when we're done with our meeting Saturday. We are due to receive the proposals. As you know, we put on an RFP for a band line of credit to fund the capital projects, and that is due next Tuesday. So we should be seeing those proposals coming in shortly. Other than that, that's all. That's the major things we're working on right now.
Yes, Alderman Finlayson.
Well, thank you. Ms. Dickerson, I don't want the fact that we're using a band line of credit to hammer us as being inappropriate. Can you explain, and for those who are listening, how that's to be used and when it is to be repaid?
Yes. Okay. So when we're funding our capital improvements, we would typically go out and sell long-term bonds for that funding and repay them over 20 years, approximately 20 to 25, maybe 30 years on some. But in this case, we issued long-term bonds in December, and we decided this year we will do a short-term line of credit called a bond anticipation note, meaning we will sell this short-term debt to do the same thing, to fund the capital improvements. And then a year from now, we will repay that band line of credit with bonds, long-term bonds, as well as issue what long-term bonds we'll need next year. And that is because our bond issues, if we do them every year, are very small. And it takes a lot of effort and a lot of costs to issue those bonds. So I decided that we would try to do a long-term bonds issue every other year. And in the interim, do the short-term piece and repay that with the long-term bonds on the second year. So it's just doing the same thing we do with the long-term bonds. It's just delaying those long-term bonds 1 year. Rates are very good right now either way. And the RFP also included proposals for refinancing some of our existing debt with bonds or a band with bonds if we can save enough money through that refinance. So we'll see what comes back.
And the cost to the city for the ban? I know you said it's minimal because the rates are very, very low.
So a ban, when we issue a ban line of credit, it's a short-term piece of debt. So we don't have to go back to the rating agencies and have them reevaluate the city. That's a costly piece of any financing that we do. And so we have to pay our financial advisor for this ban line of credit, and we have to pay our bond counsel during this process. Other than that, there are no costs involved except for the time that it takes the staff to pull the information together. A year from now, when we go to do the long-term bonds, we'll not only incur the financial advisor and the bond counsel costs, we will go back to the rating agencies and have the 3 rating agencies evaluate us again and give us a rating. And that takes a bit more time, which is one of the reasons I thought it was more prudent to do it every other year.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Payon.
What does the acronym BAN stand for?
A bond anticipation note.
Okay.
It's a note payable in anticipation that you're going to pay it off with bonds.
Okay, couldn't remember.
Is there anything else from the finance director? Are there other questions or issues from the committee? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Look at this, a half hour, yay us. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Yes, Ross.
Yeah.
Not a question,
Ross,
but a compliment to the finance director for sending us the list of items that we have allocated COVID funding to. You sent us a multi-page document, I guess it was last week, if not earlier this week, with our expenditures using COVID money. And I know we had been asking and wondering, so I just want to say thank you for getting that to us.
Mm-hmm. It was a team effort. It wasn't just me, but we tried to simplify the presentation a bit to show you what you needed to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think very generally we do appreciate, we understand how much work is asked of you, and we do appreciate it. So for you and your staff, Katie, we know you're in the background. We appreciate all you do as well. So thank you for that.
I forgot about our implementation of Granicus is going to be monitoring our short-term rental population soon. We're getting ready to implement that through them. It'll take about a month, and we're working with planning and zoning to get the short-term rentals up so that they can monitor not only the permitting, but locate STRs that are in the area that aren't reporting and not collecting the taxes, and try to help us collect those taxes and make sure everybody's paying what they need to pay.
Yeah, I knew if we kept going long enough that I would have to ask, where are we on open government?
So OpenGov, we're using it to put together a book for next year. We will be using it for our salary amounts. When we do our budget projections for salary next year, we have 2 modules we use for that. We are fully implemented, and we have been trained on all the modules. The only modules that we haven't put into place to try to create something yet is their open town hall and what's the other one called, Katie? Open town hall and stories. There's a stories module. Most of those are would be more appropriate to post things out onto the public website.
Is the open town hall the one where you go through, the citizens can go through the exercise of increasing spending and then having to find money to balance it?
I didn't see anything like that.
Well, just
what Open Town Hall allows you to do is to put subject matter out on the website asking for citizens' input. And you can do surveys and that kind of thing, and have them fill in, Q&As, that kind of thing. You can design it pretty much however you want to. So that's a tool we have that we haven't done anything.
Heads up, the mayor's going to be getting a briefing on an OpenGov module that plays out the whole budget, and it even has a fairly decent amount of detail, and allows either in a charrette or some other kind of exercise citizens to change the numbers, if say they want more funding for police, but it requires them to find where they're going to take that money.
Go ahead. Katie's going to unmute herself and explain what that might be, because I don't remember getting trained on anything like that.
So if you're thinking about what the county had this year for on their budget website, an interactive tool, OpenGov does have that possibility. We would have to build it, but there is the possibility for constituent interaction on the budget.
Right. Well, and it's being, and I like that module. I think it's something that I would work, and I would do a charrette, at least for my ward. I would urge that it be broader than that. But the mayor is, scheduled to get briefed on that as a good political reelection tool. So if you weren't aware of it, you now are.
Ross, finance does not know about this, but the mayor is presenting it publicly?
No. It is being privately presented to the mayor. I was told that was happening. I've seen that module years ago. It's actually been used very successfully in Charlotte, Virginia, and another significant municipality by a mayor who came in, was facing a budget shortfall, and said, okay, here's a tool. You tell me how you want to balance the budget. And they had charrettes, I think 3 of them, and the citizens played with the numbers, and they came up with a consensus, and they came up with a balanced budget.
Can I ask Ms. Connolly, do you know if this is something that we currently own that gives us capability, or is it a new module?
I'd have to double check. I believe it's through the Open Town Hall, but I can double check with OpenGov. Now we did for the stories, we had OpenGov meet with Mitchell because we thought that could be a tool that could be utilized by the mayor's office. And you're on mute, Jody. Did you say something? I'm sorry.
I don't know, maybe this is how that came about. We thought those 2 modules would be good for our public information office to know about, because they're more public focused, more internet focused on citizens participation. So we recommended that they get this training, and that may be how this presentation came about.
So, is there anything else for the Finance Committee meeting today? If not, I think Alderman Payon, you already made a motion to adjourn. If not, if you would do so.
I did.
Yes, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you, everyone.